According to reports in the visitors' logs, on March 31st of this year, the White House counsel's office met with a top aide to special counsel Jack Smith. Smith is currently overseeing 2 criminal investigations into former President Donald Trump, as you know. Smith's staffer, Jay Bratt, met with Caroline Saba, the deputy chief of staff for the White House counsel's office. That meeting took place just 9 weeks before Trump was indicted for allegedly mishandling classified documents. And that's not all. The FBI agent from the Washington field office, Danielle Ray, was also present. And there's more. The same staffer, Jay Bratt, also met with Saba in November 2021. It was around that time when Trump was negotiating the return of classified documents to the National Archives from his Mar-a-Lago estate. And a third meeting happened with Bratt, also in 2021, also at the White House. That time, Bratt met with Catherine Riley. She is an advisor to the White House's Chief of Staff's office. After the news, former President Donald Trump took to Truth Social, posting this earlier today. He said, quote, "It has just been reported that aides to Trump prosecutor deranged Jack Smith met with high officials at the White House just prior to these political sleazebags indicating me over nothing. If this is so, which it is, that means that Biden and his fascist thugs knew and approved of this country-dividing form of election interference, despite their insisting that they knew nothing. It's all a big lie, just like Russia, 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 and not knowing about Son's business dealings. Dismissed case," end of quote. Harvard Law School Professor Emeritus and author of the book, Get Trump, The Threat to Civil Liberties, Due Process, and Our Constitutional Rule of Law, Alan Dershowitz joins me. Nice to see you, Alan. And these visits to the White House, let me first ask, is there an innocent explanation why he would be over at the White House having these conversations?
Well, let's find out. Let's have Congress subpoena all the people who are at the meeting and find out what was discussed. If politics were discussed, obviously that violates the Hatch Act. You're not supposed to discuss politics in the White House. If there were scheduling issues, that might be an innocent interpretation, but that should have been made public, and it should have been acknowledged and the reasons given. There's enough here to warrant suspicion. Look, also, the DA of Fulton County said today, quote, she wouldn't recognize Smith in a room. Well, that obviously is an untruth. Everybody knows what Smith looks like. His pictures have been shown on your network and on major networks all over the country. Of course she knows what Smith looks like. But she's the same person who said she could bring all 19 defendants to trial within 6 months. By the way, if you do the arithmetic, that trial has now been scheduled for March 4th with 12.6 million papers that have been turned over as exculpatory. It would require the defense to read 71,000 pages per day between now and the time of the trial. So we're seeing a lot of misinformation being given to the public.
Well, I mean, even that we talked about at the beginning of the show is the fact that there's probably 44,000 hours of video, because that's what Speaker McCarthy turned over to Fox, and I presume that the prosecution is going to turn that same over to the defense, the 44,000. And if you looked at that every single day, it's like about if you watched it between now and 189 days for trial, it'd be something like 230 hours a day to watch that, which of course is impossible with only 24 hours a day. So. Let me ask you about what's going on with this judge in U.S. District Court here in D.C. to push this to trial, knowing that it's impossible to review these documents, impossible to review these tapes for trial.
But she also made a fundamental constitutional mistake. If she were in my class, I'd give her a D-. She talks about the government's interest in a speedy trial. No, only the defendant has a constitutional interest in a speedy trial and a fair trial. The defendant decides whether he wants to waive a speedy trial in order to get time to prepare. That's the decision that's made. 2 of the defendants, obviously in the Fulton County case, have waived their right to speedy trial. Have waived their right to a long trial and have demanded a speedy trial. The government only has an interest in a fair trial. It has no interest in a speedy trial. The only interest in a speedy trial is to make sure there's a conviction before the election or before the primaries to affect the election and to prevent the primaries. I mean, this judge sounds like she's doing the work of the anti-Trump, Get Trump faction. And, she comes from a law firm that's highly democratic and that has a terrible history of this kind of thing.
And I should add that there's a time when Hunter Biden was of counsel or something, that same law firm, David Boyce law firm. Yeah. You know, so if I were the lawyer in this case, because you know it is a mathematical impossibility to go over all the discovery between now and March 4th, I would withdraw because I wouldn't. I mean, I take great pride in my work as all lawyers
That's
or
right.
most lawyers should. It's just impossible. So why wouldn't you withdraw tonight as a lawyer and say, look, I can't do it. It's just impossible.
I think that's one way. I would not try this case. Let's start out with that. I would refuse to try the case. If a judge wanted to hold me in contempt, so be it. It would be like asking a brain surgeon to perform the surgery without reviewing the CAT scan, the PET scan, and the various blood tests. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. And so the option is either to withdraw or to say to the judge, sorry, I'll come to court, but I will remain silent. I can't provide a defense. I will tell the jury, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm the lawyer. I cannot provide a defense. Please do not render a verdict. Probably be held in contempt. But the third alternative is just not possible. Sitting down and defending somebody and becoming a practitioner of malpractice and ineffective assistance of counsel. No judge, I don't care who nominated her and who appointed her and who confirmed her, no judge can make a lawyer act unethically, unprofessionally, and unconstitutionally. And that's what this judge is doing.
Alan Dershowitz, thank you, sir.
Thank you.